and welcome to another episode of Game of Nutrition podcast, where we dive into the world of health, wellness, and everything in between. I'm your host, Khadija. I'm a certified holistic coach and a consulting nutritionist. In today's episode, we are going to dive into the topic of gut health, exploring a popular approach of intermittent fasting. And can this trend or lifestyle really reset your gut or digestion? So, to help us answer this question, we have Surbi Rajput with us. She's a nutritionist, she's a gut expert, and also she's a champion in weight correction as well as hormone health. With her deep understanding on how the gut impacts our overall well being, she's the perfect person to guide us. So, welcome to the show, and we are so excited to have you here today. Before we get into it, let's hear from you about your journey, your background, and why you chose this field.
So, hello everyone. My name is Surbi Rajput. I am a nutrition and a gut expert. I started my journey very randomly. I did my bachelor's for 4 years in food and nutrition, and that's where I discovered, how amazing nutrition is. And then I did a professional degree in masters, specifically in clinical nutrition and dietetics. And ever since then, I have been consulting clients all over the globe in like their different needs. Maybe it could be hormone balancing or weight or gut issues, like any nutritional needs, like I'm there. So yeah, it works likewise.
That's great. And what led you to, getting into this field, other than, just the nutrition part of it? Like, what brings joy to you when you consult clients?
Well, I was all like personally, I was always an overweight kid ever since I was a teenager, and I've been through this transformation where I now eat better, know myself better, and I have a story, and I've been through that every second. So each time I consult a client, they have some issues, and somewhere or the other I can relate to it. And since I can relate to the situation, I think I get to consult them better. Ki matlab, like throw me anything, I've been through that. So it's better to
Yeah,
help. And with the scientific knowledge that we have, I mean the works get just easier. And it's a good way to
yeah,
connect with your when you have been through what they are going through.
exactly. That's something I have also personally experienced. So
Yeah.
unless you experience it, you cannot understand what the person in front of you is going through. And
Exactly.
with that, can you share with us some memorable story where you address someone's gut health and through intermittent fasting, and that made a big difference in their life?
Yeah, sure. So, see, oftentimes it happens, usually when we have tried a couple of things. If, for example, there was this client of mine, she lives in the US. She has been trying to lose weight since quite long, and she also has thyroid issues. And she tried a lot of diets, but the weight is wasn't changing. And then we did the root cause analysis, and we just trying to look after. "Okay, okay, we are giving you a thyroid friendly diet. What's the problem?" And then we went to the history, and then we realized that there's some major garbage in the gut. So ultimately, we focused on basically balancing the gut microbiome. So as we all know, like there's a good amount of like trillions and trillions of bacteria which live in a gut, specifically in the large intestine, and there's a balance between them. I mean, they're like good bacteria and bad bacteria. Both there has to be in a balance, and if the balance is disturbed, it just releases a plethora of problems. There's going to be inflammation, there's going to be problem with your insulin levels, there's going to be problem with your hunger hormones, appetite hormones, and altogether disturbance, because apparently your gut is connected to your entire body, and production of hormones is a major thing here. So that was one part. Then eventually we added some probiotic supplement in our diet, along with the obviously a gut friendly diet. It was like completely balanced, and no high protein, no low fat, moderate amount of protein, carbs, and fat, along with some probiotics. And yes, when aiming for weight loss, I have put her in intermittent fasting window of 10 to 6. So it seems to be working out for her, because last we started this approach, she was around 87 kgs, and she just texted me like before the live. Then she has attained like somewhere around 79.8 kgs today. So it's been like 2 months. So working very good for her.
That's amazing. And along with that, there's a lot of emotional connection that comes with it. So, do you feel like, are there challenges when it comes to fasting and the emotional state around food?
See, most of the times, this is how I explain it to my clients. I mean, it's been like, for example, she is around 45 years old. The first thing I told her, you have had good 45 years of very yummy food, which was not healthy. So now it's time to quit. Now, one thing starts from there. The other point comes, we have to make them really motivational about what they really want. And intermittent fasting, see, if somebody wants to have this as a lifestyle approach, it's their choice. But when we are trying to achieve, yeah, attain something via intermittent fasting for a considerable period of time, then there is some counseling ki why you are doing this, and this is going to be situational ki theek hai, you're just going to do it for 2 months and you have all the support. Now other factor comes this, yeah, I want to eat this, like I want to eat this, mera man kar raha hai, this is something I really like. So rather than dismissing what they want to eat, it doesn't matter, it's a piece of cake or ice cream or cookie or anything we do not want them to eat, it's not like that. We recommend them having small portions of everything they desire, so that they don't put that in your unconscious brain and then obsess about it and eventually binge eat at a time we don't want them to binge eat. So it's more
Exactly.
about positive counseling. It's more about giving what they want in the form of a reward in small portions, which is justifiable, and educating them ki how portion is important, because oftentimes we tend to overeat the food that is very dear to us. So like that's how it goes.
So before we move ahead, let me tell the audience we have a game planned as usual. But before we get into game, let's first understand what is the science behind intermittent fasting, or how, what should be the approach for that.
So basically, intermittent fasting, as we all know, ki there are two phases. There's a eating window and there's a fasting window. We eat apparently in a time window where our metabolism is the most optimum. Like in the morning around 10, a cortisol rise stabilizes. Good time to start eating, and around around 5 to 7. Sorry, around 5 to 6, it's a good time to stop eating, because after that your blood pressure rises, after that your body start to secrete melatonin if for a better sleep. So apparently 10 to 7, also coinciding with the circadian rhythm of the body. Circadian rhythm is basically your body's natural clock. When you sense sunlight in your body, when the sun comes up in the morning, it's time to get up, it's time to eat. And as we progress towards the evening, the sun goes down and it's time to stop eating. So following a circadian rhythm, 10 to 6 ka window is very good for eating, and rest of the time we do not eat and fast our bodies. Now during this time when we are not eating anything, now our digestive system works, does the digestion, it's all over. And by the time the clock hits 9 or 10, it's all done, the digestion is completed. And now till next day 10 o'clock, around 12 to 13 hours, your body is gonna rest, your body is gonna heal itself. Around 10 to 1 p.m. in the night, I mean your body secretes growth hormone, which repairs your body from within. So apparently, the entire concept of intermittent fasting is, I think, how a human being should be eating optimally. Eat at a time when your body is suitable for better digestion, better energy extraction, and stop eating when it's time for your body to repair. Because, for example, if you're eating something at 9 or 10 in the night, I mean, your body is going to be doing the digestion process till 1 or 2 in the morning. And that was the time for
Yeah.
body's repair, not for digestion. So you don't sleep. You feel like you're sleeping, but you just passed out and your body is still working, and you don't get enough stress and you wake up tired. And then there's a cortisol problem, there's blood pressure problem, I mean there's going to be hormonal problems, and binge eating comes in, then the weight gain is there. So all plethora of problems. So scientifically, intermittent fasting is the right way of eating. And also intermittent fasting, in the modern terms, जिस तरीके से उसको like people have fancied it, it's a very good approach for portion control, very good approach for managing weight and discipline, of course, because when it comes to a major transformation, losing 30 kgs, 40 kgs, 10, 15 kgs, we need discipline for a considerable period of time. So yeah, intermittent fasting does help disciplining yourself.
Yeah. And along with that, I think a lot plays with the mindset. Since discipline comes in, that then mindset is a part of that, and that leads to good regimen of diet along with the application of intermittent fasting. But along with that, how does gut health and intermittent fasting relate to each other?
Then again, what we are eating, it's for us, but we eat probiotics and prebiotic. Probiotics are like live bacteria in all the fermented foods and supplements. Prebiotics is the fiber that we consume. Now, that is the food for the gut. Now, you are eating food for your energy, you are eating fiber for the microbiome's energy, but are you also giving them time to consume that and work on that? So, that does comes into play. Also, when we are in an intermittent fasting phase and the in the fasting period, when we're not eating anything, the microbiome is working as well. I mean, the body is figuring out, the body is releasing hormones to for repair, and phagocytosis occurs. I mean, the dead cells have are consumed basically. I mean, even phagocytosis of cancer cells, potential cancer cells also occur while you're fasting. So in the meanwhile, when you're not when the body is not digesting, they are also at rest and they can do other functions other than digestion. Microbes do help in digestion, but they also have a function of producing glucose modulating compounds. They have a function of regulating the female hormones. They have a potential of producing metabolic compounds. They produce vitamins, minerals as well, and they grow in number. See, it's more like if you keep eating throughout the day in the office, when are you going to work? There's no time to work when you're just eating, eating, eating. So it's the likewise. When entire day you are eating, so the microbes are just still digestion. We are doing digestion, digestion, digestion. But when the fasting window comes, even they get time to work in peace. So it works likewise.
That's very interesting the way you related work of a normal person and the microbes in the gut. So yeah, and along with that, there are diets in which fasting it's like a 16-8 hours 16 is to 8 window, or there are times when there's 24-hour fasting, and there are times when it's 12-12. It's like there are different ratios. So what is your view on the different ratios?
I think 12 hour fasting is very normal. I mean, usually people eat their breakfast around 9 and 10. They come back home and they're having their dinner around 8, 9, or 10. So that's very normal, specifically in Indian setting, I'll say. Now, other than that, this is something I have done personally. I have done the 16 8 hour window. I've also done the 20 and 4 hour window. Like, I wasn't fasting for 20 hours, and I just used to eat for like 4 hours. Like, दोपहर के 12 बजे से लेकर I used to eat till 4 in the evening, and the rest time I used to fast. Now, that was something I did after following, 1.5 month of the 16/8 fasting. Since I'm a professional, I can take it to extreme lengths just to try how I can survive, so I can help my clients ki chalo theek hai, I know how it feels, so I can totally relate. But see, this is not something I'm saying ki we shouldn't do. I think we should try this. It's really nice because when you're not eating, and then you realize there are a lot of different things to do in the world except eating. And like, you watch a movie and you'll feel like, I don't have, if I don't have anything to eat, the movie feels, there's something missing. It's missing. Then we realize
Yeah.
how much senseless eating we do. It makes us
Mhm.
realize things like this. But yes, definitely different windows of intermittent fasting. I mean, they are really, really helpful, specifically when we aim for weight loss. But they have to be very mindfully incorporated. And then again, if we go to extreme of intermittent fasting, that shouldn't be done for a longer period of time. It should be done for a shorter period of time. And I think the classic 16 to 8 ratio is, I think, sustainable. It gets results and you can follow it for a longer period of time as well.
Yeah. And it's interesting how I relate to the fact that there are a lot of things I've experimented on myself before
Yeah.
I actually, give it to the clients, because when it even comes to fasting, or even it comes to any kind of a diet that, a
Hmm.
patient wants to try out. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
important that
yeah.
you try it out and then go ahead with it. So the next part of it is I would want to discuss the type of food that should be consumed when we fast and all, and the game is very related to that. So before we pour out all the secrets, let's go ahead to the game. So the game today is going to be called Fact or Fiction. So the audience, you'll be getting claims as well as our guests, and you have to just put it out either if it's a fact or a fiction in the chat box, and our guests will give us reasoning. And let's, I think, begin with the first claim.
Okay.
So apple cider vinegar during fasting boosts the gut health.
Okay,
So,
I think that's a fiction.
would you like to explain it out?
For sure. See, apple cider vinegar during fasting boosts gut health. Now, this is a statement. It can't be called a fact because I think this is incomplete. If they might said ki apple cider vinegar during fasting boosts gut health with mother, like apparently apple cider vinegar are supposed to have a component called mother, which is itself a group of probiotics which is added, like it's a whole processing term. But yes, with mother it has probiotics, and it will help with gut health, and it will also help with gut health if you're not fasting as well. So it goes like that.
Yeah, so audience have a mixed response. Some say it's fact, some say it's not. But yeah, the acid, the main thing in apple cider vinegar is it helps with, a little bit acid, help with the stomach acid. So
Yeah, it has,
I don't
yeah.
think there is anything else that it actually does other than, helping with that. And our stomach acid is much more powerful. So let's move ahead to the next claim. Intermittent fasting is bad for women's hormones.
It's a fiction. I'll say it's a fiction. And if done properly with the right quality and quantity of food, I think it's like what, a boon to women's hormones.
Yeah, yeah. And along with that, overdoing fasting can, affect the hormones, because people just go on without food for hours and hours, and your hormones are basically made out of proteins, fats. So
Yeah.
they need those nutrients to actually be made. So it's simple as that, that you need to have those in order to have your hormone health in place.
Yeah, sure. I mean, fasting is okay, but I mean, it should be done like maybe once or twice a month, and it should be like good detox and not starvation. It should be from a detox point
Mhm.
of view, not a starvation point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move ahead. The next is fasting can help cure food intolerances over time.
I think I'll call it fiction again because I never saw a correlation between fasting and curing food intolerance. Curing food intolerance has always been about eliminating the food and then reintroducing it after a period of time.
Mhm. And along with that, fasting gives the digestive system a break. It doesn't really, it reduces the symptoms when you are not eating those foods because you're fasting. But when you are back to, eating those foods, those effects will come again.
Yeah,
So there's no cure with food intolerances due to fasting.
exactly.
Okay. So you should break your fast with bone broth for better gut healing.
See, I won't call it a fiction nor a fact, but I think it's okay to break a fast with anything which is properly cooked, so it's not a shock for the body. That oh my god, like I have to digest raw bananas or I have to digest raw vegetables because that comes at a shock for the body because it's restarting the system. So nothing, but yeah, it's you can break a fast, not a problem.
So, bone broth is rich in collagen, amino acids, and minerals, and that definitely supports the gut lining. But it's not like it's the superfood just to have after fasting period. So, uh, that's exactly
Yeah,
what
because
you
we're
mentioned.
talking about gut healing, and whenever we
Mhm.
talk about any problem, I said there's never a single thing doing the work. It has to be a combination. Specifically with foods, if someone says ki will this food help with gut healing, with this food will help with blood pressure, or this food will help with weight loss, answer is always a no. Because whenever we are approaching health in these terms, it's always a very diet answer कि ऐसा you have to eat like this, then it will help, not if you eat this it will only help.
Yeah, that's true. And along with this, the next claim is very popular that says skipping breakfast is bad for your metabolism.
Yeah,
So
it's a
it's a fact, but at the same time, it doesn't really harm your metabolism because meal timings as such are more important and along with that, personal preferences, what works for your body, your whole routine. It's not like you have a breakfast at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. Everyone has their own routine set, and based on that, their whole metabolism is aligned.
so
So,
basically see the body works, definitely the body works according to circadian rhythm. And people who have night shifts, definitely they always have some metabolism problem, and that's a proof that if you don't eat according to the circadian rhythm, there's going to be a problem. Like for example, it's actually very decent to have your breakfast around between a window of 9 to 11, and most of the people have their breakfast around this time. Why? Because see, you get up in the morning, you have high cortisol levels. Now you are supposed to have high cortisol levels in order for your body to wake up, and around 9 or 8 or 9 the cortisol becomes like a moderate. Now this is a good time for you to eat, get the energy to start the day. So metabolically and hormonal speaking, breakfast is really important. Otherwise, see, if you skip your breakfast, I mean, you are starting your day with no energy, and it will like ultimately lead you to eat like a pig after in the afternoon, in the evening, wrecks up the entire weight loss journey or anything. So definitely, I think breakfast is very important. And the term breakfast comes with the first meal of the day, not the night. So definitely, I think if you're skipping up your breakfast, there's gonna be a plethora of problems you get. So yeah, for me, it's a fact, and it does mess up your metabolism.
okay. So the next one is again a single food, and drinking celery juice first thing in the morning resets your gut.
No, no, no. If you do a one day celery juice diet, celery juice detox, if you just take celery juice for a day, then I can say that you're detoxing your gut. But don't do it without supervision. I've tried this, so I can say that 2 days of fruit fasting did literally reset my gut. So I've tried and tested, but just having one drink in the morning, first thing in the morning, it won't reset your gut. I mean, no, fiction.
Yeah, it will just provide a little bit of extra hydration in the morning. And maybe if you're not straining it, then maybe a little bit of fiber and
You can
nothing
you
else.
can get equal amount of hydration from just a glass of water as well. And
Yeah,
since it's a juice, so I hardly expect any fiber here.
yeah, okay. So the seventh claim is eating nothing but soup during fasting window speeds up digestion.
Eating nothing but soup during fasting. No, I'll say it's a fiction as well. For digestion, you really need solid food, because if you're just eating liquid on fasting, you'll have constipation.
Yeah, so
So
it's important to have fiber to actually help your gut digest. It's if it's just liquids,
if you're trying to heal your gut, the microbes live in your
Mhm.
gut. If you're not giving food for them, how the healing's gonna happen? So simple basic logic.
Yeah, and in the eating window, soups can be nourishing, but digestion speed is not related to having soups.
No, and you
Yeah.
see, even though I think if you're talking about fasting during the intermittent fasting phase, so definitely we don't eat anything in the intermittent fasting phase. But if you are just fasting on a general basis, I mean, okay, soup is a decent option, but I don't think it will do anything to your digestion. It'll happen normally.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. So, the eighth claim is gummy probiotics are just as effective as capsules.
Yeah, it's a fact. The only difference between a gummy and a capsule is the consumers. Like, for example, I can't give a capsule and a tablet to a capsules are something which the adults comprehend. Ki, yes, this is a supplement, I can take it. So yeah, they're equally important. I mean, the application is different. All the entire supplemental component is the same.
But when it comes to eating gummies and capsules for a normal person, I think capsules are more effective because when the capsules have a coating, which does not get broken down in the stomach acid. Like that's the place where the stomach acid is not able to, affect the microbes. So that's
Hmm.
when they're easily, in the life form, they reach your gut. So it's easier
Uh,
for the gut that way.
so apparently, what happens is ki, like for example, we have trillions of microbes in our gut, and a classic probiotic will have somewhere around 5 to 100 billion of probiotics.
Mhm.
And I mean, we're gonna have it through our mouth, and it will go via the stomach, and ultimately there's going to be a considerable amount of that probiotic which will not make it to the small intestine because of the stomach acid. So we do expect some percentage of damage via that platform. And when it comes to definitely gummies, it's for the kids because unke liye it's more palatable for them, more acceptable for them. And uh, we always overdose medication because we know only a particular percentage of medication, like for example, the liver just discards anything which is not natural to the body.
Yeah.
And any medication that we consume, only 5 to 8% is absorbed. So even though we are giving, like for example, 10 billion cfu in a capsule, I mean, we hardly get a few lakhs till the gut. So yeah, the story goes like that. And
Yeah.
definitely the form of the probiotic depends upon key who's consuming it, and that's all.
Yeah, and that's why gut healthy foods are to be eaten so that those microbes that reach your gut need to be grown there
Yeah,
using
exactly.
the foods that reach there. So second last claim for today, activated charcoal drinks help cleanse the gut while fasting.
This is a big fiction.
Yeah, but it's interesting how this kind of false claims they go viral and people actually believe it.
See,
So
it's
this
very normal because see, it's like if I say you put a sponge in a glass full of water, it's gonna absorb. And people think "Ki, I'll put that same sponge in my body, it will absorb." Because it's very
yeah.
simple. I mean, it's easy science, anyone can comprehend. They feel like activated charcoal has a tendency of extracting dirt. So they feel like "Ki, put it on the face, it will extract the dirt. Put it in my tummy, it will extract the toxins." So it's very relatable science, and that's how, I mean, these false claim, they just run around the world.
Yeah, and along with that, activated charcoal can absorb anything. So it'll also absorb the nutrients that way.
I think activated charcoal is not supposed to be in a human's body, so
Yeah.
it shouldn't be consumed in any form until unless there's some research or there's some doctor who's recommending this for a particular thing. So far in nutritional history or nutritional education, I've never read a paper regarding how activated charcoal ever helped anyone nutritionally. So big no.
Okay, so the last one is gut healing teas with turmeric, ginger, and lemon are a must during fasting.
Well, I won't call them a gut healing substances, but turmeric, ginger themselves have good anti-inflammatory properties. So, they're good for the body, definitely. And I think they also give a very good sense of doing something good to yourself. And they should be a part of your normal life, easily.
Yep. So before we end the game, let's go back to where we were talking about food. We spoke a lot about the lot of the trending myths, but how the food choices that we have and what role does diet quality play after a fast, or what are the options that should be chosen?
Okay, so if you're breaking your fast, always remember never to eat anything raw or anything complex or anything harsh. You should go with food which is easily digestible and is not a shock to the body, and it's warm in nature. You can easily go with a soup, but not a soup which is strained. Like for example, some people make tomato soup and then they strain it and take the juice out and they throw away the pulp. I mean, that's the I think the worst thing I've seen people do. I mean, you should always always keep the pulp and everything. So soups are a good thing. Overcooked sabzis, we can take overcooked sabzis with with sardo kind of bread, because they're again fermented. You can go with curd rice, and you can take khichdi, which is properly overcooked with some cooked veggies along with that. You can take ribed fruits, and just make sure that everything you're taking is a little bit warm. When it comes to fruits, just make sure that they're properly ribed, and try to avoid anything sweet. I mean, you can take a ripe papaya, that won't affect a lot because it has a low glycemic index, but don't take anything very high in sweet because it will spike up your blood sugar levels, and then it's gonna maybe create a crash towards the end of the day or something. Then the binge eating comes in. So always remember to eat something warm, soft, overcooked, and a lot of cooked veggies kind of stuff. They should be having a lot of veggies. Don't go with a lot of large amounts of grains as well, like no large amount of rotis and rice. Fermented foods as well. So like this is a criteria.
Okay. So to sum it up, well-cooked foods, more of fiber, fruits, veggies, and along with that, when it comes to weight loss, is there something particular to have a sustainable weight loss that comes along with fasting?
Weight loss with intermittent fasting, I mean, always stay in a calorie deficit, first of all, and the quality and the quantity of food, keeping the time window same, change on a weekly basis so that there's no plateau phase. We don't want the plateau phase.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to plateau for the audience, there's this space in which, the weight remains stagnant and irrespective of what you do, even if your calories are put in a lower, uh, minimal levels, there's no dip in your weight or increase in your weight as well. So that plateau has to be broken down in order to achieve whatever results that we need. So, what is one common myth about intermittent fasting that you would like to debunk here?
I oftentimes see people eating very less food on intermittent fasting. So it's more like, uh, if on a normal weight loss diet you're eating 1300 kilocalories, then you're also supposed to eat 1300 kilocalories while you're doing intermittent fasting. You don't need to skip your lunch or dinner. I mean, you just need to change the timing. So eat
Mhm.
enough.
Before we wrap up this session, I would like to ask what would be something that one key element that you would like to highlight for the audience that this is supposed to be there for intermittent fasting and gut health to work together.
If you're aiming for a sustainable intermittent fasting, good gut health, and also weight loss or anything else, always remember to eat everything in balance. I mean, don't go zero carbs, don't go high protein, don't go low fat. I mean, it's gonna wreck your body. So have everything in balance. Don't choose the extremes. Stay balanced, stay in the center, and don't try to eat less so you lose. Always remember, it eating less also wrecks up your metabolism. So eat enough, eat balanced, do not try to touch the extremes. And I mean, if you want to do something drastic, always consult. Help is always around the corner.
Yeah, and along with this, when it comes to IBS, there's a lot of diets coming in with low FODMAP diet and foods that cause irritation to the gut. So, how are those related to the conditions that we have?
I think we don't even have to put the underlying condition into the picture, because nowadays the kind of diet people are eating, there's a lot of inflammation in the body itself.
Hmm.
And giving a very brief explanation, why do you have inflammation in the body? You are eating things which have toxins to the body. Toxin doesn't mean poison stuff. Toxins mean anything which is unnatural to your liver. It is gonna be detected as a toxin, and to tackle that toxin, your body is gonna secrete inflammatory compounds which will cause inflammation in your body. So everybody has some level of inflammation in the body, and ultimately there are some foods which increase this inflammation, like dairy. In today, the how dairy is harvested in today's world, dairy
Hmm.
causes inflammation, gluten also causes inflammation. At some level, even eggs can cause some level of inflammation. So how to tackle with these kind of things, and also considering other gut issues, like you have IBS and IBD. In IBD, you have ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. You might have GERD. You might have acidity issues. You might have leaky gut and compromised membranes. What do you call it? Like there's low permeability of the
Yeah.
gut lining. In situations like this, we go with a very simple non-stimulating diet. We remove everything which has a potential to cause inflammation, do hidden trial with every particular client to see what works with this particular person, what doesn't. It takes around 2 to 3 months to figure these out. And then we slowly and gradually, when the system is calm and it's healed and repaired, because there has been no harmful inflammation or harmful stimulus for the past 2 3 months, now it's in a very stable state, then we start to reintroduce things back into the diet so that it's normal for the person. So it takes patience, it takes knowledge, and trying to make the result very individualistic depending upon how the person reacts to food. So we do a proper food recall. We maintain a food diary for them, and yeah, a lot of motivation goes there as well.
Yeah. So coming to the question from the audience and what you just explained, so all these symptoms, all these, processes, how do you identify that in the person? Because gut is something internal. So how do you understand it externally that what is seriously going on in the gut?
So oftentimes, I mean, you can categorize gut issues in two sections. One are very casual, I'll say, not casual for the client, but for us, I mean, we'll call them very normal and casual because they are normalized and they're very straightforward. Like you have bloating, you have diarrhea problem, you have constipation problem, and you have poor digestion. See, I think bloating is like that heavy feeling you get after eating. Bloating is that feeling that you feel like your stomach is protruded, you feel like there's gas. Constipation is irregular bowel movements, and diarrhea is then again loose stools goes around. um then now we have second category of issues where we have leaky gut. In cases like leaky gut, I mean, there's a lot of inflammation in the body. There's going to be fatigue. There's going to be skin problems. Even I've seen some clients having arthritis because of the leaky gut issue, because of all the inflammation. When a person has IBS, now for problems like IBS, ulcerative, Crohn's, something more severe, we do go for tests before concluding that this is a problem. This is something the doctor tells us, and then we try to control it again.
Yeah.
But oftentimes the symptoms goes like there are food intolerances. I mean, and there are a lot of food allergies. There is poor digestion. You have bloating, and diarrhea, constipation comes in episodes, specifically in cases of some IBS, where there's constipation for some time, then diarrhea, then 2 days of constipation, then 1 day of diarrhea. This is a classic case of IBS. I've had this with one of my clients. Some of the very normally felt symptoms of overall gut issue when your gut is in imbalance. Imbalanced gut is basically called a gut dysbiosis. So when there's gut dysbiosis, you'll have normal problems like bloating, constipation, diarrhea. You'll have skin issues. You can have hair loss issues. You can have low energy. You can have brain fog. You can have migraines, and you can have low immunity, and you can also have anxiety and depression, nervousness altogether. And yeah, definitely, altered female hormones, blood sugar problems, and your appetite and hunger issues. I mean, if you have some major craving issues, or if you have sweet cravings as well, I mean, somewhere or the other, all of these are indicative that there's something wrong with your gut. And moving forward, uh, we do a very in-depth root cause analysis. We analyze the lifestyle, the food, everything of an individual person to come to a particular conclusion ki, "Ha, this is the problem."
Yeah. So I think it was great having you here, and there's a lot what our audience heard and understood about gut and everything. And along with that, it's there's a lot of things that come up, and the easy solution is popping a pill, but actually the root cause or the reason behind most of the things could be your gut. So it's important to address that before you go on something, that spoils your gut uh, flora, microflora further. So
Hmm.
I think let's end the session here. Thank you so much, and bye bye.
Yeah, take care. Bye bye.